How many cars were wrecked, and has a way been found to be James Deane at the second stage of the OIDC 2024? Hello, this is Grinya, and today we will discuss the second stage of the 2024 Oman International Drift Championship. Let's roll! So, a week ago we watched beautiful, high-quality drifting at the opening of the OIDC 2024 year, but the drivers decided to give us variety and made the second stage of the 2024 season a survival race. An interesting fact is that the layout of the track has not changed at all, and the judges' test became simply a mirrored version of the first stage. A week ago, the initiation was into a left turn, and all top 32 participants coped well with this. At the second stage, it was necessary to enter the same arc with the right turn, and that's where the problems began. But let's start from the beginning. A week has passed since the season opener. Drivers understood that some drove too cautiously, while others too aggressively, and the qualification showed a completely different result, except for the winner. From the very first attempt, Nasir Al-Harbari, Riyad Mabsali and Ahmed Daham drove very strongly. Almost perfect lines from these drivers, and the strongest energy of the rounds allowed them to take 4th, 3rd and 2nd places immediately after the first attempt. Guess who showed the highest result? That's right, it's James the Machine Deane. Ahmed Daham conducts his run with enormous 93.7 points, and James Deane improves this result and receives 94 points. The intrigue of the qualification did not end there. On the second attempt, Haitham Al-Hadidi shows a very good run and takes the 3rd position in the qualification with 93.3 points. Ahmed Daham bypasses James Deane and receives 95.5 points. But it seems to me James Deane was just waiting for this, and in his second qualification run he shows an almost perfect 99 points, securing his second consecutive qualification victory. Apart from the aforementioned drivers, Nick Dak, Lilia and Al-Hassani also drove well in the qualification and made it into the top 8 results. The very first look at the top 32 bracket led me to think that this time all pairs were arranged without much luck involved. The stronger driver, high in qualification, would race against less skilled opponents. The exception was both Dutch drivers, Clint van Oort and Sebastian Fontaine took 19th and 20th places in the qualification and went up against Ali Al-Balushi and Edgars Krogeris. Again, Krogeris had to break through to the next stage of the competition from the top 32 through a battle with a strong driver. Plus, the two brothers Tariq and Ali Al-Shaykhani had to decide who was stronger already in the first stage of the race. Otherwise, all the interesting battles seem to remain in the top 16. But as I said a week ago, this is the Oman International Drift Championship, and predicting anything here is very difficult. Well, okay, James Deane can still be predicted, and he very easily advanced to the top 16, but from the second pair of the top 32, the race took an interesting direction. Miguel and Idiatulin, who are in the same team, raced against each other in the top 32. In the second turn, Miguel goes too narrow on the inner clipping point and hits the concrete blocks, leaving his opponent on the track alone. In the second round of this battle, Idiatulin drove by himself. The next pair, Bullseye and Al-Hassani, also didn't race for a long time. At the initiation, Bullseye goes off the track and wrecks his car, while Al-Hassani continues the run and almost goes off the track before the finish, for which he also receives a penalty from the judges. Bullseye's car is put back together and he conducts a very good run as the leader Al-Hassani does not put enough pressure on the leader. The first unexpected result, victory for Bullseye Hamdan. Pandora's box was opened by Clint van Oort and Ali Al-Balushi. In their battle, the judges made an unclear decision after van Oort's contact with the leader Al-Balushi. It's a pity that the judges don't have a microphone to immediately clarify the decision, but from the angles that were live, it looked very much like a mistake by Van Oort. However, Clint van Oort wins the battle. Salim Al-Sarraf and Riyad Mapsali could not decide who was stronger, and they were sent to a one more time. The right turn in the initiation again leads to a contact and a spin. This contact was provoked by Mapsali with a late throttle opening at the initiation. Accordingly, Al-Sarraf advances to the top 16. The run between Chris Brady and Samer Sabeh ends in a crash on the first turn. Sabeh emerged from the plastic box and rubber already without a door, but the car is put back together and the battle continues. The car of the driver from Lebanon can no longer fight, and in the same turn, Sabeh once again disassembles the rear of his BMW. Chris Brady, by a twist of fate, keeps his Skyline R32 intact. The judges evaluated the first crash in favor of Sabeh, and therefore this pair goes for one more time. Samer Sabeh doesn't manage to repair his car in time, and Chris Brady moves on, having completed his buy run. The next victim of the plastic box was Andreas Lilia Supra A80. Although Lilia looked stronger, his contact with the blocks allows Linus Joensuu to advance. In the pair of Al-Hadidi and Rintanen, the Finnish driver almost flew into the wall but managed to stay on the track. And the battle ended with technical problems for Haitham Al-Hadidi again. Kragris and Fontaine didn't allow us to enjoy beautiful drifting, as in the second part of the battle, Fontaine stops drifting and Kragris makes contact from behind. Kragris moves to the top 16, and at the end of the top 32, Tariq Al-Shaykhani didn't show up at the start, allowing his brother Ali Al-Shaykhani to advance to the top 16 without a fight. And these are only the events of the top 32. Seems like enough crashes, right? No! Moving on to the top 16. The FIA representative Damir Diatulin's attempt to stop James Deane looked very impressive, but James Deane was everywhere a little closer, a little more aggressive, and a little better, and therefore he advances to the top 8. While the main character of this race, The Wall, hospitably welcomes Benedictus Chirba's Eurofighter, but in the end, the judges' panel counted more mistakes from Bullseye and somewhat ambiguously gave the victory to Chirba. Again, the absence of the microphone for the judges left many questions after this battle. Nasser Al-Harbali didn't want to hit the wall, hanging onto the handbrake for too long, but Clint Van Oort tried to help him out. By a miracle, Al-Harbali didn't meet the wall. However, it was his fault in the contact. The victory was so close, but Van Oort spins during the initiation and leads to a one more time. They seem to go beautiful in a close tandem drift, but right after the last transition, Van Oort runs into Al-Harbali and the run ends. Think they calm down after that? Another initiation and another contact. Only Van Oort drives away and Al-Harbali loses the drift. Van Oort moves on. Ali Maksid with Salim Al-Sarraf tried to do some good drifting, but both made a lot of mistakes. Ali Maksid had slightly fewer, so he advances to the top 8. The first pair without contact in the top 16 turned out to be the battle between Ahmed Daham and Chris Brady. It wasn't without errors. Brady's car breaks down and Ahmed Daham moves on to the top 8. But we return to the usual destruction of cars in the second stage of OIDC 2024. Linus Joensuu pushes Ahmed Al-Amri into the wall during initiation. The cars are repaired and the drivers switch roles. As a leader, Joensuu's car simply stalls during the initiation. He quickly brings it back to life, but the judges immediately notice that. Ahmed Al-Amri drives carefully with what left of his car and earns a pass to the top 8. Edgar Kragris against Juha Rintanen, and nothing new. Contact during initiation, the run is stopped. This time even a wheel comes off Kragris' car. They switch roles and now Kragris chases Rintanen. Both drivers make similar mistakes, and this is a reason for one more time. What do you think happened there? Yes, the wall, a constant participant in the race, joyfully welcomes Edgar Kragris into its embrace. Rintanen advances to the top 8. Nick Nack confidently defeats Ali Al-Shaykhani, although Bazooka put up a worthy resistance. With this, the top 16 comes to an end, and all this drift chaos without ads, brakes and car recoveries can be viewed via this hint, and don't forget to like this video, I really appreciate it. Okay, the strongest drivers have survived to the top 8, and there will be no more crashes, just beautiful tandem drifting, right? Right? Yes, James Deane and Benedetto Scirbà opened the top 8 with a very juicy run, and it seems that it's impossible to drive better as a chaser than Scirbà, but this is James the Machine Deane we're talking about. Nobody can stop him, and he manages to show just a slightly better run and advances to the semi-finals. Ali Maxid and Clint Van Oort also seem to have improved and gifted us such a beautiful tandem run. Maxid, a magnificent leader, Van Oort, a very skilled chaser, and all is well until they switch roles and the wall interferes with their tandem run again. Van Oort, as the leader, clips the wall, goes off the track, and Maxid heads to his victory and into the top 4. The Ham looked clearly more confident on the track than Alhambri, and without any particular problems secured himself a place in the top 4. A bit of drama was left to us by the pair Juha Rintanen against Nicholas Bertens. Rintanen conducted a very beautiful chase run, and Nick Nack had nothing left but to try and improve an almost perfect chase run. Bertens know how to do such things, we call it knocking on the door. This tactic is very spectacular but also very dangerous. If you hit the leading car's front wheel, it can lead to a spin, a broken suspension or other unforeseen consequences. After several hits from the chaser Nick Nack in the middle of the run, Juha simply stops drifting and straightens up. The judges didn't understand such behavior and even asked Juha to turn the steering wheel before making their verdict. The steering system of the GR86 was working perfectly, but Juha complained that the wheel was knocked out of his hands. Later on his Instagram, Rintanen posted the run from inside the car, and indeed, the wheel popped out of his hands. But why did Juha close the throttle? Was it a tactic, or was it indeed impossible to continue driving? What are your thoughts? I'm waiting for suggestions in the comment section. And Nick Nack advances to the top 4. In the top 4 of the second stage of the OIDC 2024 season, the pairs were James Deane against Ali Maxid and Ahmed Daham against Nicholas Bertens, and our Europe vs Middle East showdown reached a new level. James Deane, as always, performs a marvelous lead run, and Ali Maxid takes this opportunity to drive a very good chase. Wow, but somehow the wall had been idle for too long, right? With a role reversal, Deane tries to be as close as possible to the leader, and leader Maxid, at the initiation probably not intentionally, tries to be as close as possible to the wall. Maxid's car enters the wall very hard. James Deane is too close, cannot avoid the impact, and smashes his car against the remnants of Maxid's car. An unpleasant crash. Now I'd like to pause here and discuss the issues with our broadcast and attempts to solve them. In the first stage, many viewers complained about very quiet engine sounds. This problem was tried to be solved in the second stage, but they went a little overboard. Now the commentator can't be heard. We hope for the third stage and a balance of sounds. Although maybe some of you preferred one of the options from the first 2 stages, let us know about it in the comments. But there's something in the broadcast that I dislike even more than the sound. As far as I know, the live team has access to all materials from all cameras, and it's not difficult to show any of this content to the judges for the most objective decision making. But the viewers were completely forgotten about. How come the judges watch replays from different angles for about 4 minutes, while we are shown 4 minutes of 2 drivers waiting for the decision, as was the case with Rintanen and Bertens? This greatly diminishes the dynamics of what's happening. The second problem with the broadcast, repetition of exactly the same angles of the past run. The drone view of the first turn is informative for the competition, but why not show the crash of Maxid and DEANE from 2 or 3 other closer angles? They just show us a crash fact from the drone from afar again, and that's it. This is very disappointing and this issue needs to be worked on. Back to the race. So, both Maxid's and DEANE's cars were badly damaged, and if there is no chance for Maxid to continue the race, James Deane's car seemed to have only damage to the rear wheel by external signs. According to the regulations, a driver whose car was wrecked by someone else's fault has 10 minutes of technical timeout to restore the car to working condition. Of course, James DEANE was granted these 10 minutes and his team did everything possible. But the problem was not just in one wheel or arm. The impact was too strong and took almost the entire rear part of the car with it. We'll find out the details on James Deane's vlog on his YouTube channel. But for now, based on the results of this run, Ali Maxid advances to the 3rd place run and cannot make it there, meaning he finishes 4th in this race, and James DEANE cannot make it to the final and finishes 2nd in this race. This is how at least some way was found to stop James DEANE one step away from victory. But we still have another top 4 pair, Ahmed Daham against Nicholas Bertens. And it so happened that this top 4 battle immediately decided who would win the race and who would be 3rd, as there were no opponents left for these drivers for the 1st and 3rd places. Ahmed Daham leads, Nicholas Bertens chases, and even with small context from Nick Nack, it was an outstanding run by 2 professionals. With a role switch, lead driver Nick Nack decided to surprise the chaser Daham with a very aggressive backward style initiation, but did it too aggressively and spun out. Ahmed Daham magically avoids first Nick Nack's car and then the wall, and their battle ends there. Nick Nack moves on to the 3rd place run, which will not happen, and Daham advances to the final, which also will not happen. The symbolic bye run of Ahmed Daham concludes the race with his victory. Wait, I promised that we would count how many crashes there were in the race, and before announcing the results, now is the perfect time to do it. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and that's just at the initiation. Did I count that correctly? If you counted more, write about in the comment section below. So, the race results in the national standings for Oman: 3rd place Haitham Al-Khadidi, 2nd place Ali Al-Shaykhani, 1st place Ahmed Al-Amri. The result in the Middle East and North Africa standings: 3rd place Ahmed Al-Amri, 2nd place Ali Maxid, 1st place Ahmed Daham. The result in the overall driver standings: 3rd place Nicholas Bertens, 2nd place James DEANE, 1st place Ahmed Daham. And what's happening in the championship leaderboard just before the season final? James DEANE has pulled too far ahead from everyone with 202 points. The only chance to catch him will appear if someone decides to beat him in the style of Ali Maxid in the top 32 at the final. It gets more interesting further down. Ahmed Daham jumps to the 2nd spot in the championship with 145 points. Very close to him with 138 points in 3rd place is Juha Rintanen. 4th place is Clint Van Oort with 113 points, and thereafter the drivers are very closely packed by points. So, in the final, the main intrigue awaits us: who will become 2nd and 4th in the 2024 OIDC season. Although the Oman International Drift Championship knows how to surprise. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, share the video link on social media, and don't forget to join the broadcast of the final this Thursday for qualification and on Friday for the main race. It's going to be very cool. This was Grinya. See you in a week.